Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this joint hearing. Mr. Miller, you know, this panel and previous panels have testified pretty consistently that CCS is not adequately demonstrated and not necessarily completely commercially available. So if that is the fact, and what are the implications for your customers? You know, the city utilities retire older plants and need to add new sources of power. What's going to be the consequence if EPA moves forward with these regulations?
Well, it could go a variety of directions, but ultimately we have the obligation to serve our customers. And as a municipal utility, the money we spend is not a shareholder money, it is our customer money. And so, first of all, if we're in a retirement mode where we retire assets, it was mentioned earlier that some assets will be retired before the end of their useful life, but you're still paying on those. Your customers have paid for those assets, so that's a loss of money there. Now you have to find either the ability to install not demonstrated technology, and I've been on the end where I've had to install demonstrated technology, whether it be a scrubber or selective catalytic reduction, and you buy those from vendors that commercial. They have guarantees, and they're designed by nationally recognized engineers, and when you go to install those, you get surprises. Even commercial equipment, you still get surprised, and there are some additional costs, and those costs flow back to your customers. So our customers will pay more because you have assets that are retiring. You're putting in non-proven, non-demonstrated technology, which ups the amount of risk that you're going to take on, that you are going to find problems as you implement that technology, and that's cost. So those are all driving costs, increasing costs to customers, so whether you buy it from the market or whether you install the technology that's not demonstrated, and when you retire the assets, that all flows back, in our case, right back to our customers. And so we are very protective of that because we have that obligation to serve, and they own us.
Yeah, and so the next step of that is, okay, so you have those options out there. Assuming that you have those options, it could increase the cost because of the increased cost in technology. Here's my question: is if we keep going down this path of being anti-fossil fuel for the production of electricity in this country, whether it be coal or natural gas, doesn't that begin to limit our options? In other words, your utility is not the only utility in the country that's facing this issue, and so we have this massive consolidation of all of these different communities or providers for communities looking for power sources. And if we begin to limit the choices, how do we keep the lights on?
You are basically shrinking your subset of options, and these, as was mentioned earlier, it takes a long time to get these generating sources on and up and operating, and so you start limiting your capacity, and you start running the potential of having reliability problems, not only in your region or not in your area, but in the region, and you're putting a lot of pressure on these much reduced options available to your customers. So the answer is we are still have that obligation to serve. We're still going to do everything we can, but you increase your risk of reliability issues across the nation, and it also drives cost into the business world. And so your economic development picture changes too. Instead of adding jobs in your community, you might be freezing jobs, or you might be reducing jobs or moving them elsewhere. So it impacts our low-income customers, but it also impacts our economic development within our communities.
Well, Mr. Miller, you were reading my mind, because the next question I have is, okay, so we got reduced capacity, so we got a reliability factor, and probably got a lot of price pressure then, because you got all of these people competing that have these contracts to deliver power, and they're looking for that power. And so the question is, and you mentioned it, is that the job creation, the impacts on businesses, manufacturing businesses, all kinds of business. It's pretty hard to run a business in this country without power. And so that's the reason I'm going to ask unanimous consent, because Heritage just recently did a study that I think is important to the record, Mr. Chairman, and I'll just read a little bit from that. It said that according to the report, by 2023, we can expect to see nearly 600,000 jobs lost nationwide, with Texas losing 25,000 jobs, and over 330,000 manufacturing jobs could be lost because of this rule. And in my district alone, we could expect to see maybe 400 people lose their job. And so without objection, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put the Heritage Report as a part of the record.
Any objection? So ordered.
And I yield back the time I don't have.